Fritz Lang's 1929 film Woman in the Moon was based on his wife, Thea von Harbou's 1928 novel, The Rocket to the Moon. This film is often considered to be one of the first serious science fiction films. In 2016, the International Space Hall of Fame at the New Mexico Museum of Space History inducted Gene Roddenberry for his contributions to the space industry. Since the debut of Star Trek, many of Roddenberry's visions have already become reality. Some others are being researched, and some things may be physically impossible. Items that can be found in homes of today that first appeared on Star Trek are flat-screen TVs and tablet computers. Does science inspire fiction, or does it work the other way around? In the case of medical technology, Star Trek has increasingly been inspiring researchers worldwide. Recently, 2 teams were awarded the Qualcomm Tricorder X Prize for developing handheld devices that can diagnose a range of diseases and check a patient's vital signs without invasive tests, inspired by Star Trek's medical tricorder device. Another tricorder inspiration helped to create this mobile tablet, allowing doctors to pull up a patient's x-rays wherever the patient is. The communicators of the original series were much simpler, yet they inspired communication developers to create our cell phones of today. Robots with almost true artificial intelligence have made the jump from Star Trek to real life. Meet Pepper, the Smithsonian's new tour guide. And here is Sophia, a very sophisticated robot with an AI system and software that allows her to have general reasoning and be able to hold simple conversations with you. Scientists have recently created antimatter in microscopic quantities and are currently studying the physics applications of it. Here, Dr. Robichaud of Auburn University made a scientific breakthrough by trapping and holding the antimatter version of the hydrogen atom. Before Star Trek, there were other inspirations. In 1902, Georges Méliès's film Trip to the Moon was based on Jules Verne's 1865 and 1870 novels From the Earth to the Moon and Around the Moon. Science fiction has been around since the 17th century, although some scholars will argue that it's much earlier, citing Sumerian texts of the Epic of Gilgamesh, 2150-2000 BCE. Magazines are still a viable source of science fiction. Fritz Lang's 1929 film Woman in the Moon was based on his wife, Thea von Harbou's 1928 novel, The Rocket to the Moon. This film is often considered to be one of the first serious science fiction films. The basis of rocket travel were presented to a mass audience for the first time by this film, including the use of a multi-stage rocket. Please note, the idea originated from a woman. Although Hermann Oberth was tasked with building a small rocket to be launched at the film's premiere and received credit in the film, this project never materialized. However, Willy Lay's, far right, work on the movie did. In the February 1937 issue of Astounding Stories magazine, Lay had published a science fiction short story, At the Perihelion, under the pseudonym Robert Wiley, which was later reprinted as a Martian adventure in the 1962 anthology Great Science Fiction by Scientists. His book, Rockets, The Future of Travel Beyond the Stratosphere, 1944, describes more futuristic projects to reach the moon using a 3-stage rocket as high as 1/3 of the Empire State Building. Sir Arthur C. Clarke's 1951 book, The Exploration of Space, was used by Wernher von Braun to convince President John F. Kennedy that it was possible to go to the moon. The motion picture 2001, A Space Odyssey, was based on Sir Arthur's short story of 1950, The Sentinel. In his other writings, he proposed several things which have become reality, such as the geosynchronous orbiting satellites on which we rely on so much today. I'm Sue Taylor, Chief Curator for the New Mexico Museum of Space History, sharing with you stories from the Space Vault and Museum Library. Visit our YouTube channel and Facebook page for more interesting programs. Thank you.